And look, we're back. We're back in the studio, back in Los Angeles after spending 3 days in Miami with a bunch of absolute legends. Fresh Prince CEO, Pogson, and Myron Gaines. It was, as well as their lawyer friend, Andrew. It was a fantastic couple of days. 3 days in Miami. You know what's really funny is when you're really busy, when you've got days when you're doing like so many things, like a million things in one day, and you're sort of all over the place. One day seems to kind of seem like two in your head, and time slows down. You really appreciate it. Or you really get to experience every single minute of every day. It's fantastic. Being busy is a good thing. Well, here we are, back in LA. LA hasn't turned into a pile of ash and rubble like I was fearing. So there's that thing to consider. But I had a very interesting experience while I was in Miami. I actually got to work alongside an industry legend. And here's the thing, I didn't even know he was an industry legend when I first met him. So this guy is so I ended up getting booked for a scene with Sarah J, and Sarah J's it's a production company, and it was a foursome scene with myself, Sarah J, Maggie Green, and this other gentleman, Preston Parker, who is the man I'm talking about today. And it was like a high school reunion, class of '96 kind of situation. So, you know, when you're hanging around with someone, you sort of you start to piece together bits and pieces of their background and their history and what they're about as they start dropping, stories and tidbits over the course of the day. And he said he was talking about working for BangBus, and we started talking about some directors that I knew and that he knew, and this guy's been in the industry for something like 18 years. He's been shooting for about 18 years. I think he's about 10 years older than me, 43. Tom Bombadil, welcome, buddy. Good to see you in the house. So, yeah, this guy's been shooting for about 18 years, right? And I meet him, and we shoot the scene for Sarah J. It goes fantastic. Easy day at work. And this guy, Preston Parker, was easily, like, right off the bat, one of the nicest, easiest to get along with, most chill, relaxed guys I've ever met in this industry upon, like, first time being on set with a guy, especially with another male talent. And like, the immediate impression I got of the guy was like, this guy smokes weed. I know this guy smokes weed. And I was correct, he did smoke weed. Very, very chill. Very relaxed. But what I didn't realize was that he was actually the main talent behind the viral, ever extremely successful porn site BangBus back in the day. Now, he wasn't the main director. He didn't start off as the main director, but he was the main talent. And he was basically faceless for a long period of time. He shot everything point of view, POV style. And we shared an Uber, back to our respective hotel rooms or whatever, where we were staying. And on the way, so I just kept asking him about his career, kept asking him about his life, how he sort of got his start in porn, how he progressed through porn in his 18 years, and it was a fascinating story. So that's what I wanted to kind of recount to you guys today, because there's some really, really interesting insights that I'd never heard before, and I don't think many people would know unless they were in the industry around that time, or in the industry for that long themselves. James Farmer, good to see you, buddy. Thank you very much, Tom, for the appreciation. So many gems and golden nuggets dropped on your channel. Thank you, sir. Edgar, good to see you. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. BangBus is from Miami. That's absolutely correct. That's where I was. That's where this guy's, basically, this guy, Preston Parker, started his career. And where do we start? So he started. He was shooting for the BangBus, right? And he was telling me something interesting. It was like so he ended up being the male talent / director for a few different sites, like 4 or 6 different sites. I think he said at the time. And all that stuff was point of view, just him and a handy cam. And he kind of got that gig because one day he was shooting. He had his director who was sitting there cashing checks like left, right, and center, making bank. They were making big money back in the day. It's like early. I think he started in 2003. I think he was saying 2002, 2003. Alec, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. So the company was making hand over fist. The director was making a ton of money. But this guy, Preston, was basically the one doing all the work. And he kind of got a bit of a break one day when he was... his director fell asleep on set and was just snoring on the couch. And Preston was like, "Oh, I can do this." Preston picked up the camera and basically shot the scene himself with him and the female talent, and then actually panned across during all this to the director asleep snoring on the couch, and then back and continued the scene. And he kind of got into a bit of trouble with his boss, the director, and but the heads up at the company hit him up and were like, "Hey, we got a bunch of other sites we want to start up, and we reckon could you do what you just did, like the POV handycam stuff? Can you do that for us?" And he's like, "Sure." So he ended up shooting for a few different sites, and one of them was Ass Parade, super popular. And he ended up shooting with all these Miami girls, and directed for them. And he was telling me something really interesting about the BangBus was that what he would do is they'd find female talent, right, and they would shoot them for all these other sites. They'd try to shoot them, a handful of times, and then that would sort of get spread out over the course. They'd release that content periodically, right? But with the BangBus stuff, they'd kind of cross their fingers and hope she didn't shoot for anyone else and wouldn't shoot another scene ever again, because then it would really look amateur. And that was the kind of key to their success early on, was they were getting girls that was their only scene that they shot, was the BangBus. And then they added, and they kind of really added to like the amateur reality style of the shoot, of them like pulling up on a girl in a bar, in like a minivan, getting her in the van off the street, convincing her to have sex, and then kicking her out of the van at the end of the scene. And that was kind of the whole crux of it. And it was funny because he plays this in that for that website, like his character behind the camera. He plays this really kind of a little bit mean, kind of very cocky, very arrogant, smart-ass guy. But in real life, he's the complete opposite. He is just the nicest, most pleasant man to be around. So I found that hilarious. And then he was telling me. So this was, he started sort of directing early 2000s. And then around about the time of like 2007 to 2010, you had like the economic recession. And this is the thing I found really fascinating, which I think no one has ever really, I've never heard anyone talk about this, and I've never heard this story before. And I think this is something a really interesting insight for everyone else, for everyone watching this show, who's obviously not in the industry. So you had a bunch of these companies, Bang Bros, Reality Kings, sort of under this umbrella, right? And they were making millions of dollars a month at this point. This is like the peak. This is basically the peak of pornography, because these guys were some of the first ones to jump. These companies were and websites that he managed were some of the first ones to jump on the internet and really not go down the DVD route, which had been the previous model in like the 90s. But in the early 2000s, they went down like the online membership route and put everything on the internet. And then 2007 to like 2009, the economic recession hits. And what happened was you had all of these members to these websites had subscribed with their credit cards. And a lot of them just sort of didn't even realize they were still subscribed. And so you had all these sort of legacy credit cards subscribed to a lot of these websites, and they were just ticking away, recharging every month. Again, pulling in millions of dollars. And then what happened was an economic recession hit, and overnight, all of these credit cards started showing insufficient funds. All these credit cards started declining. And they lost millions and millions of dollars of revenue, like overnight, over the course of like months. And they went from being like at the top of Mount Olympus to just crashing hard because of the economic recession. And I reckon that's a fascinating insight, because you'd never ever hear about the economic ramifications of recessions on this industry, the porn industry. So I was fascinated when I heard that. And then what happened was his higher ups, basically, because he had like a team of staff helping him sort of shoot pickup shots and book the girls and organize all the stuff for the girls and pick them up from the airport if they'd flown in. He had and obviously transferring all the files across and giving them to the editors. He had a whole crew. He had several people under his employment to get the job done, because he was doing a lot of work. You know, he was shooting like 2 times a day, every day, like pumping out a ton of movies and scenes. But then all these credit cards started declining. They were losing millions of dollars, and all of a sudden, all of his staff got the sack, and it got reduced down to like him and like one assistant or something like that. And so he kept plugging away with that. It went from being like, really, really easy, top of the world, to like, damn, this is a lot more work to produce the same kind of result that we were getting before. And he sort of churned away at that for a few years. Then he was saying at one point he was in the middle of shooting a scene, and he just turned to the girl and said, "Go home. I'm done. Sorry about this. We'll give you a kill. We'll give you a kill fee. We'll pay you a fee for showing up. But I'm done, and I'm going home." He just like pulled the pin one day in the middle of a scene. It's like, stuff this. This is too much work. I'm being run ragged. I need to go home. And then he ended up he left Miami. He ended up leaving, and he ended up going back to Vegas. And when he was in Vegas, he set up this guy's a genius. He's an absolute genius. He went and he set up shoot houses in Vegas, right? So a shoot house is obviously a house is decorated and with, you know, furniture and various kind of sets so that you can shoot porn in it. Yeah. You can shoot multiple different types of scenes. You can use the house in very versatile different ways for different types of scenes. So he'd set up a shoot house in a pretty good look, apparently a very good shoot house in Vegas, and he lived there as well. And he was saying what happened was, because he was a performer, he'd have, you know, at least 6 times a month, the crew or the director that was booking his house would have a male talent cancel at the last minute, or their flight got delayed, or something that meant the male talent they'd hired couldn't make it. So he picked up they're shooting in his house where he lives. So he just like stepped in and took the shoot instead. So he started like doing that in Vegas and getting all the shoots that way. And then apparently all these celebrities, he was on this sort of street in Vegas, this sort of residential area where a lot of different celebrities actually lived. And what happened was, they, because there was so much production going on, his neighbors started seeing all these taxis and stuff rocking up with these gorgeous women getting out, and they're like, "What is that? How I think it is? Like, what on earth is going on here?" And then he started telling them, and lo and behold, all the houses on his street at one point, not all of them, a large chunk of them, the houses on his street ended up becoming shoot houses, as all of his neighbors were like, well, we want to get in on this action. We want to get paid to rent our houses out. And there was a few celebrities that lived in Vegas that were actually doing that as well. They converted their houses into shoot houses and ended up making money off of it. And it's this entire street of houses ended up being rented out for pornographic films. And I thought that was bloody brilliant. Yeah, and then he got out of the industry for a while, moved down to sort of areas of California, and he moved back to Miami recently, and he started shooting again. And man, meeting old school male performers for me is one of the most fascinating things, because they have so much knowledge and they have so many stories and insights into the industry. It's because I'm kind of like a connoisseur of this industry. I'm a student of it. You know, I really like to learn about the history of how my industry came to be and how people sort of came up and where the money was made. I find all this really, really interesting to learn. So when I meet a guy like Preston, I get to hear all these kinds of stories. It's always a great day. So yeah, now me and him are on really great terms. And the other thing we were talking about, because the theme of the porno we were actually shooting yesterday, it was a high school reunion porno, and before we started shooting, we were talking about like losing our virginities and being our sexual activity back in our younger days. And he said he wasn't. Here's an interesting story for you guys. So he's packing, right? He's got a big one, and he said his entire sex life when he was in high school kind of revolved around, he had a buddy in the sports class. I think one of the girls asked, like, oh, who's got the biggest one in your year group of boys? And because they'd all seen each other in the naked in the showers or whatever for gym class, one of the guys had said, oh, Jesus, Preston's got one hanging down to his knees. And boom, as soon as all the girls in his school heard that, he started sleeping with them all. He started getting, they all basically just wanted to sleep with him. So whenever guys ask, does penis size matter? Well, it's not the be all and end all, but if you get a reputation for having a big wang, it ain't doing you any harm. That's for damn sure. And I thought that was really funny. Sort of kickstarted his entire sex life. Let's catch up with the chat a little bit here. Obviously, Van Lee, I think you tuned in earlier on when I was explaining it. So obviously, no, the BangBus, it basically is scripted. Yeah, it's improvised is a better way of saying it. They sort of lay out. Look, here's kind of the scenario we're going to go through. The dialogue is improvised, but you generally kind of know, like, the girls generally kind of know what they what the director wants them to say in terms of it might be, oh, your boyfriend left you here because you got into a fight, whatever. That's the theme of today's shoot. So they're given a general guideline, and then they're obviously just making up the dialogue based around that as they go along. Yeah. Well, thank you, Tom Bombadil. If the guy who founded XXX Church can be friends with Ron Jeremy, then I can be friends with Stirling. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. The fact that you are religious, the fact that you are a Christian does not bother me in any way, shape, or form, obviously. And likewise. So there you go. You mean God made sex? You're absolutely right, Tom. I do not know who Crystal Cabello is. Hazel Fager, so no idea. That's interesting. That's a very interesting question, David. What's the current revenue stream for free-to-view porn? Is it just website ads? Well, yes. So YouTube and Pornhub have a lot in common. A lot in common. So they both do ad share revenue systems. So, for every 1,000 views you get on the videos you post on Pornhub, Pornhub makes money off of the ads that run. You'll see the ads like up in the corner, the little GIFs that roll around, and the stuff that's put on the video before you get into it and play it. Those have that's where these big tube sites make all their money, and they make a lot of money from these ads. People think like, oh, like this is a great question, David. I'm glad you asked this. So to quickly answer your question, yes, we make money. Like if I post a video on Pornhub under my account, obviously, I get a share of the ad revenue that is generated from that video based upon the views it gets. Exactly the same way that YouTube creators do. I think the payout rates are a little bit different though, if I'm correct. I think, well, they might actually be pretty similar now that I think about it. But anyway, it's a lot easier to get for me to get monetized on Pornhub than it is for me to get monetized on YouTube, the things that I talk about. But the way, so people often ask, oh, like how does the porn industry exist if all this free porn is sitting on websites like Pornhub, right? Well, the thing you got to remember about Pornhub is owned by the overarching company called MindGeek. It is a Canadian company based in Montreal. Now, MindGeek owns Pornhub. MindGeek also owns Brazzers, Digital Playground, Reality Kings, and a couple other big brands, big websites. So what happens is free porn goes onto Pornhub. This drives a lot of traffic to Pornhub, and then a lot of ads. People pay various companies selling things, pay for the ad space on Pornhub. That generates a ton of revenue, and that revenue is then pumped that revenue goes into MindGeek, and that same revenue is then pumped into companies like, or brands, websites like Brazzers, Digital Playground, and Reality Kings to film more pornography. So that's kind of how the model works, at least for that chunk of companies, or that chunk of websites right now. That's how that's how porn is still being generated from all this ad revenue. And boy, oh boy, is there a lot of ad revenue coming in. Like, we're talking millions of dollars a day is being spent by advertisers. Millions of dollars a day of ad space is being bought by advertisers to get some time on Pornhub's ad reels. And you might ask, well, what the hell are they selling there? Well, a lot of it is like dating websites. A lot of it is driving traffic to dating websites and driving traffic to sex toy websites and driving traffic to supplements. Unfortunately, a lot of those supplements are complete bullshit and horseshit. Trying to sell you the mystical African herb that'll grow your penis by 2 inches overnight by taking a goddamn pill. No, that is never going to happen. That's not how it works. I know because I've done it. I've grown my penis and I know how you do it. And it's not through a secret goddamn African herb. It's through consistent effort over a long period of time. You can increase the size of your junk. It's not through some random mythical herb. But people buy those. People, unfortunately, click on those ads because they want to be sold the magic pill. So they click on those ads and they buy those products, and thus driving the whole cycle over and over again. So, very, very good question, David. Thank you for asking it. Austin with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much for supporting the channel too. Much appreciated. Thanks to the Squirt Lesson on Myron Gaines podcast. You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. I actually said, I tend to drop a lot more really specific sex advice on other people's channels because you guys don't really seem to ask me that many questions about this stuff. I should start doing, I'm going to have to start doing like smaller breakdown videos, like 10 minute, 20 minute videos on various sex techniques because, I want to make sure you guys are getting just as much value on my channel as everyone else's. Duane, I have not seen that scene. Chris, good to see you again, mate. It was a pleasure hanging out with you in Miami, mate. Damn, fever got you. That's no good. That's no good. Random question. Do porn stars watch porn? Wouldn't it be weird to watch your coworkers? It is weird to watch your coworkers. So yes, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people in my industry don't watch our scene. They don't watch porn with the other porn stars in it that they know. They tend to porn. If you ask most porn stars, they tend to watch amateur porn because they don't know the people in it. It's kind of hard to masturbate to like pornography when you actually know all the people in it and you've known them for a while and you know their personalities and you know their, it's really hard to sort of objectify them and jerk off when you know the people. Where we get to? James asks, do you prefer 1, being paid to bang a woman on set, 2, banging a woman for free in a dating relationship type situation, or 3, paying a woman to bang yourself in a hooker John type situation? Well, 3 doesn't happen. And to be honest, it's number. So it's actually number 2, banging a woman for free in like a casual dating situation. Particularly now, it used to be number 1. When I first got in, the novelty of having sex on set and doing all this crazy stuff on set was very much took the top spot. Nowadays, it is more novel for me to have regular casual sex as opposed to like on set crazy porn star sex. So there you go. Atlas shrugging. You mean to tell me there isn't some mystical herb to make my muscles grow? Unfortunately not, sir. Yeah, look, there's no super soldier serum for your dick. Doesn't exist. Yeah, it's a good idea. Post those sex techniques on. No, I'm gonna post them all on YouTube, man, because I get more traffic on YouTube. Or get more like look, here's an interesting thing. He says post those sex techniques on Pornhub for the revenue, and so you keep your YouTube friendly. Look, this channel is is not getting greenlit anytime soon because of all the things I talk about anyway. So it's far better for me to offer real value with a demonetized video than to offer like mediocre value with a monetized video. I'd much rather give you guys actual useful content and not get ad revenue from it, but get revenue on the back end. That's a far better model for me to pursue because I don't want to bullshit you guys. I want to give you honest, real honest, applicable advice, stuff you can use in your everyday lives. What was I going to say? Oh, you made me think of something then. I don't know. I was going to say follow up with that for something. So you can keep YouTube friendly. Damn. Maybe it'll come back to me. Beastly Nerd, Hot Dude Army. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Yeah, oh, that's what I was going to say. So, speaking of sex techniques, on Monday, yeah, exactly, Tom. Most YouTubers don't rely on ad revenue anymore. Or at least, yes, thank you. Now I remember what I was going to say. So, fun thing I discovered very early on with promoting my ebook, for example, right? Here's why, Arden. Here's why I will not be. I mean, I can post all this stuff. I can still post all this stuff on Pornhub, and I can still make money off of it. That's just low hanging fruit. That's free cash on the table. But here's the reason why I will be posting like sex technique stuff here on YouTube. It's because of the audience that it attracts. So, thing I learned really early on when promoting my ebook was that, and I had this conversation with Sarah J on Thursday after we got done on the Fresh and Fit podcast. And it was because every time she posts, because Sarah J is one of my affiliates for my ebook, and every time she tweets out, a recommendation for my book, like, hey guys, if you want to learn how to be better in the sack, check out my friend Stirling's book. And every time she does that, she's got some of her fans replying underneath being like, bullshit, scam, this is a lie, doesn't work, capping, whatever. Every time. And the thing I learned, and I actually I hit up a few when I first released the book. I hit up a few other porn stars to promote it as affiliates because I was certain. And this is an important business lesson for everyone listening about market research and pivoting and adjusting based upon market feedback. I was convinced that all of the fans of porn stars are going to want to get this book because they're going to want to be better in bed. They're going to want to have a bigger dick, etc., etc. That is not the case. Interesting observation that Sarah J made was she's like, look, all the kind of people who actually buy your book, aka which is my point I'm getting to about audience, as in all the people who watch this channel on YouTube are interested in improving themselves. One, they believe they can improve their life. They believe they can improve themselves fundamentally. And two, they are actively interested in improving themselves. So they're here to gain knowledge that they can implement in their life and better their life with. Okay, that's why I will always keep posting this sort of stuff on YouTube, because that's the kind of audience that is attracted to this stuff, and those are the people I want. Those are the eyeballs that I want on my content, because they're going to be customers of mine, right? Because they want to improve themselves. What Sarah J's observation was really insightful. She said, "My fans, aka your average porn fan, doesn't want to improve themselves. They want to believe that nothing. They want to believe that nothing can change, that they can't improve, that they can't change, and that they and a lot of them get off on being kind of degraded about it, because she was saying she gets a lot of small penis humiliation custom requests, which tells you everything you need to know about the two different sort of audience mentalities. One wants to really improve themselves, believe they can do better. One believes that they're static and they're stuck the way they are, and doesn't want to hear anything pertaining to you might be able to improve your life, because that conflicts with their worldview about, like, because think about it this way. Dude who like watches porn and is like a big fan of a porn star and stuff. The fact that he has to, if he believed that he could improve himself, then he would have to come to terms with the fact that his life is shitty because of his own actions, and he is entirely responsible for his life's shitty circumstances. He would have to come to terms with that, and most of them don't want to come to terms with that. So they forego that responsibility by saying, by having the worldview of I'm a static, persona. I cannot change. I cannot improve. So I've accepted my lot in life. And it's a very different mental framework from the kinds of people who are watching this channel right now. You. So there you go. Great question, or great segue, I should say. Yes, Alec, I am absolutely saying that my audience, all of them, every single one of you all have bigger dicks than the average person. So good on you. Well done. Congratulations. Atlas shrugging, I can attest that several techniques mentioned in the book work. Have tried them on my wife with great results. Thank you, Atlas. You are welcome, and your wife is welcome as well. Man, while I'm on the while I remember, I wanted to tell you a quick little story about that Sarah J was telling me when we were chatting after shooting a scene. So what a lot of these, I need to talk about this more and ask these when I get these girls on my show, I need to ask them this more, because I forget to ask them this. A lot of the girls in my industry will make extra revenue on the side by selling their panties. Okay, this is an extremely common revenue source for these girls, is selling their panties. Now, but she sells them on her website, and she says she can't keep them in stock long enough. Like, by the time she puts it up for sale on her website, it's basically sold, instantaneously. She's developed this sort of like system, this conveyor belt system for selling her used panties. So she'll buy a pack of, what was she saying? She'll buy a 10 pack of panties for $15, right? So $1.50 a pop for the panties. She'll wear them for a day, take photos in them, and then give them to her assistant, who will package them and list them on, take the photos that she took and list them on her website with the photos and stuff. And then she'll sell them for $75 a pop. That is not a bad margin, if you ask me. Cost of goods sold $1.50, revenue $75. Not a bad margin at all. And she's constantly churning through this. She can't really keep up. So she's always wearing new underwear because she has to wear the new underwear to then be able to sell it to a fan. And the other funny thing she told me was that she puts all the underwear 10 packs, she puts them on her Amazon wish list. So her fans are paying for the new underwear, and then they're also paying for the old used underwear as well. So she hasn't paid for fucking underwear in forever. Just like the conveyor belt system, like that, she's got it down to a science about how to get the most money out of her used underwear. I thought it was fucking fantastic. Yeah, exactly. Holy simping. Guys actually buy used panties, much less ones from a chick they don't know. Dude, and I've always wondered, like, who are these people buying this stuff? And I'm like, what do they use it for? And apparently she was saying that some of them like use them to jerk off into, some of them sniff them while they're jerking off, and some of them even wear them as like part of their fetish or whatever it is. So there you go. That's what happens. Yeah. This is where you drop a link to your book. Good point, David. Thank you very much for... Look, I don't do this anywhere near enough. ZNCFU. Thank you for the reminder, David. Gom.co/ in the chat. That is, in fact, the link to my book. Thank you, David. Or maybe the link to my book is in the description of this YouTube video below. And it's in the description of all of my YouTube videos. But it's always good to drop it in the chat every now and then. So thank you for the reminder, David. There was a question up here. Van Lee, do guys in production get laid residually, like videographers, editors, lighting guys? Good question. Sometimes the directors do. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Look, so a lot of the directors have wives and families, and they're not interested in hanging out with these younger girls. But then some directors and photographers, they're younger and they're single and they're actively dating, so they sometimes they will partner down with or end up banging some of these porn girls, particularly if the guy has videography skills or photography skills, because then he can shoot content with her. He can be the stunt dick, right? And he can shoot content with her that she can then use on her OnlyFans. So it's like a tit for tat situation. So they do get laid using their skills in the industry. And there are some, and I do know some like assistants, PAs on set, who basically do like the lighting and the audio and all that kind of stuff, who end up dating girls within the industry. Yeah, so it kind of is a bit of a foot in the door to a degree. Yeah, good question. Good question. I want to know where they get all this extra money. If they had that much money, get in the gym and you wouldn't have to pay for it. Mate, that's what I'm saying. And I think when I explained before the two different mental psyches of these two different audiences, this is kind of why. This is that they don't even believe that they can improve themselves, Atlas. They wouldn't even, the thought of going to the gym and improving yourself wouldn't even enter their mind, I don't think, Atlas. Yeah. Is Lana Rhodes the queen right now? Lana Rhodes is very popular. She doesn't really shoot. She doesn't shoot mainstream stuff. She does her OnlyFans things, and she'll occasionally do like collaborations with other big name girls, but she doesn't really shoot for mainstream porn companies anymore. There's a few girls like that who got a really big name for themselves, and their rate is so prohibitively high that no one really shoots them anymore. Good question, James. Are you really going to release a fitness program product, something like Get Into Porn Star Shape? I have in my ebook, link in the chat, a link in the description below. I do have a chapter on the process that I used when I first got into the industry for losing body fat, building up my cardiovascular system, and getting stronger and a bit bigger. So I do actually break that down in my book. It is a very simple model, though. It's not super in depth. So it is sort of like a very much a plug and play system for you that pretty much anyone can adopt. Are you going to get back into filming when COVID is over? We've been filming for the last 4 months, man. We've been filming. We still film. Yeah, we've been filming for ages. Yeah, so we stopped for a couple of months when COVID hit and when LA went to lockdown, and then we figured out the talent testing places here figured out how to test for COVID, and had us turn that test around relatively quickly. And then bang, we went straight back into production again, man. So we've been shooting for ages. Yeah. No, I set him straight on CrossFit when I was in Miami, Atlas. We had a good conversation about it. So, no, Myron understands why I promote CrossFit for specific things. And that specific purpose is basically cardiovascular fitness and muscular endurance. It's not for getting a good body. I do not say that it is not perfect. It is not ideal. It is not optimized for that. But for doing what I do, for like the fuck muscles, for like being able to fuck for a long period of time, that it is actually quite useful for. So that's the reason why I sort of talk about it. Yeah. Anyway, guys, yeah, on Monday, I am filming my new course, Sexual Dominance Escalation. For those of you who might have been in the Rule Zero live event, you saw a brief 1 hour breakdown of the concepts in this course, the Sexual Dominance Escalation course. And on Monday, I am. Let me show you who I'm working with. I've got a couple of girls that I am. We're spending the whole day, and I'm breaking down a ton of different sex techniques, which will sort of baby step you through being very vanilla. For those who want to sort of up their bedroom game, it'll baby step you from being very vanilla and tame in the bedroom, and show you how to progressively add more dominance in the bedroom to the point where you might even end up going into like a BDSM kind of scenario, or BDSM dom sub kind of situation. And I also teach you various ways to sort of read women's body language when you're doing these things, how to execute some of these more physical things safely and correctly and pleasurably. And I talk about sort of how to escalate a compliance ladder in the bedroom to take a girl from doing something that's relatively tame that most girls would do, and then to taking her to the point of showing her a new sexual experience, which is a bit more naughty and a bit more perverted, shall we say. So I break all that down in this new course, and I'm filming it on Monday, so I'm very, very excited to get stuck into that. I'm going to shoot some BTS on there as well. And these are the two ladies I am shooting with. Let me show you these charming couple of ladies. This is the lovely Lola Faye. She's going to be one of my talents on Monday. She's an absolute nymph. She is a kinky girl, if you couldn't tell that already. So she's the first one, and the other young lady is... Oops, that's the same one. I thought these were named differently. The other young lady is Chloe Cherry. This blonde bombshell right here. Both very very petite, tiny little things. Both very experienced in being submissives for BDSM websites. So I can do a hell of a lot of things with these girls. So I can show you all kinds of different demonstrations. So I'm very much looking forward to you guys seeing this product, because it is, this is going to be very good. Like, no one in the manosphere has put out anything like this before. No one in the men's self-help sort of space has ever put out anything like this before. Hell, like, no one in my industry has really put out much like this before. Of all the like the sex education products that have come out on the market from my industry, from people in my industry, or people sort of using models from my industry to do it, they're all lame as shit. They're all like really basic bitch fucking demos, and they're getting girls to explain it, so it's not a really accurate explanation of it. But it's my goal is to make this product really comprehensive and really in depth and really like just hitting the nail on the head teaching. So like my goal is to be able to take a guy who's like practically a virgin or like a super tame and vanilla, and for him to be able to come across as a guy who is really experienced and talented in the bedroom right off the bat, you know. So that's my goal with this product, and you know, hopefully a lot of you guys will check it out. And what I'll be doing is I'll be posting so we're filming it on Monday, then I've got to spend a week or two like stitching it all together and editing it and voicing over things, and then I'm going to start dropping demos on this channel, teasers of it, so you can see exactly what's in the product and exactly how it's laid out. So I think you guys are going to really enjoy that. What did I get to? Something about it seems like a fitness industry niche that hasn't been filled. Nerd fitness, young guy fitness, right? I see what you're saying. Yeah, like porn fitness. Yeah, like bedroom fitness. Well, it's really bedroom fitness, if anything. Yeah, maybe I should team up with Myron and come up with something. That could be pretty interesting. James, what is it? Why are you asking this question? What does it have to do? What's the context? Is it easier to be forgiven or to ask permission? What's the context? What are you asking about? Correct, Atlas. That, of course, will not be on YouTube. It'll be... Actually, I've got to figure out where the hell I'm going to host the damn thing, because Gumroad doesn't really like sexual stuff either. I will probably... You'll probably be able to buy it through my Gumroad account, but then it will give you a login code for... I'll probably have to host it on my website, to be honest, because I don't know where else I'll be able to host it. Trying to send a $5 super chat, not working. Got a PayPal link. I don't use PayPal because I don't trust PayPal. They take people's money too easily. So bring back Kesha Gray. Well, I've got no choice in who casts Kesha Gray, do I? Editors edits fashionably late. Well, you're welcome. You dumpster fowl. Yeah, exactly. This ain't your grandpappy's body language mastery. Not exactly. It's not exactly body language mastery. Look, John teaches you how to get her into bed, and then I teach you how to get away with a lot of different stuff in the bedroom. Just, how to show a great time in there. I saw a map of Pornhub insights for women in the USA. A lot of states say women watch a lot of lesbian porn. They watch a lot of lesbian porn, and they watch a lot of gangbang porn as well, Vanley. There's a lot of that too. Which doesn't surprise me at all. And I think women in general are far more fluid with their sexuality than men tend to be. I'm not one of these guys who tells you that there's no such thing as a bisexual man. By far, I know bisexual men. They're in my industry. I know lots of bisexual dudes. If anything, my industry is like a fucking haven for bisexual dudes. But in general, across the male population, men tend to be far more rigid with their sexuality, whereas women tend to be a lot more fluid. So the fact that women like to look at other women having sex or other women being, performing lesbian sex doesn't really surprise me, because most girls, if you get them in the right mood, you get them a bit tipsy, or you get them having fun, they're gonna make out with other chicks. Yeah. Try Dave Rubin's Locals. It's like Patreon plus Facebook. Interesting, Lance. I might give that a look. Thank you very much for the recommendation. There you go. Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying, James. So you spoke about escalation in the bedroom, and then you're referring to, is it easy to be forgiven or to ask permission? Well, I'm going to teach you neither. I'm going to teach you exactly how to progress it through a compliance ladder, so you set it up to win. So you set it up so you're not going to get the rejection. So you set it up you perform it, and you set up things in such a way that she is compliant with what you're doing. And I'm also teaching you how to read her body language through a couple of different things as well. So you're looking for green lights and red lights. Yeah. So okay, now I understand your question. So that is exactly what I'm teaching. I teach you how to. You don't have to. I'm teaching you what I'm teaching you. You won't need to ask permission or forgiveness, because you won't ask for permission because you're going to lead her through this experience in in the correct way. That's primarily what I'm showing you. And you won't be asking for forgiveness because I'm going to teach you how to execute these things, these sex acts properly in a way that is enjoyable, pleasurable for the woman. So she's going to get off on it. Hope that clarifies things. All right, gentlemen, and any ladies that are watching as well. I'm going to wrap it up here tonight. And tomorrow, if all goes according to plan, I am actually going to be interviewing my first ever porn director, my friend Ricky Greenwood, who my friend and employer in a lot of days. Ricky Greenwood is a director I've worked with a fair bit this year, and I've worked with him on numerous movies. He is a lot of fun, French-Canadian guy. I think it's going to be a very unique interview because I haven't had a director on here before, so you guys have some questions ready for a porn director tomorrow because we're going to give you a real insight into what exactly goes on behind the camera and in the creation of a porn scene, and what a director looks for in male talent, female talent, and these kind of things. I think it's going to be a fantastic day, and he's a funny guy, and I love him. So there you go. Do you have enough of the production / crew side of things to do a making of series? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. And when you say a making of series, are you referring to like I guess I kind of answered your question when I said I'm going to talk to a director. So there you go. You're probably going to get a lot of the questions you're curious about answered by Ricky tomorrow. So, all right, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new to this. If you're new to this channel, and hit the notification bell. But also, if there are any topics you'd like me to do a video on in particular, I don't ask this enough. If you have a topic you'd like me to do a video on, don't write it in the chat right now. Listen to me. Don't write it in the chat right now. Put it in the comments section below this video on YouTube, because that way I can go through it later and find it very easily, and then I have a list of things I can make a video on which you guys are actually interested in. So let me know in the comments section below if you have a topic idea you'd like me to discuss on YouTube for a video. Okay? All right. Now we'll see you next time.